Hey, this is Ryan of Happy, Healthy, Vegan. Well, I've got a gross, sick, crazy story for you today, guys. It just came out in Vice magazine. One of their writers there, an intern, who claimed she was a vegetarian, nearly vegan for 15 years, got convinced to stop being a vegetarian because she started cooking with blood. So how did this happen? Well, apparently this sad Vice writer got in contact with this food expert, Laura Shockley, and Laura believes that as long as people are eating animals, which she feels is totally cool and fine, people should eat everything, blood included, and bases her reasoning on that Europeans have been using blood in their cooking for ages. Well, now the story starts taking a really gross turn. Well, this Laura Shockley, expert in food, gets her blood locally sourced from a local slaughterhouse, which anesthetizes and then slaughters unsuspecting animals. Yeah, right here it says, like, she got a bottle of blood from this place, and it was just in a living animal, a 2-year-old steer, just about 2 hours earlier, and they think this is a cool thing. And then the Vice author and Laura Shockley proceed to make a bloody ravioli. Yes, ravioli made out of blood, which the two of them later on go on to eat, therefore breaking this author's vegetarian streak. So how does a 15-year-long vegetarian, nearly vegan as this author claims she's been, go from not eating meat to all of a sudden enjoying a meal of bloody ravioli? Well, she says she's talking to this Laura food expert Shockley person on the phone, and Laura urges her, the author, to reconsider why she's eating what she's eating. Well, not surprisingly, this food expert's arguments against not eating meat, not eating blood, are some of the worst arguments I've ever seen, hands down. She says, "I really don't understand how anyone could be a vegan or any kind of conscious eater while still buying chocolate and bananas," she said. "Everyone knows that the conditions at banana or cocoa farms are inhumane for workers." And then the Vice author agrees with her. She says, "It's true. I do know it's almost impossible to find a chocolate bar that wasn't made thanks to child labor and slavery." She cites an article in The Guardian how banana workers live in shanty accommodations on site, or they're busting great distances to work long and punishing days, and they're paid horrible slave wages. Like I said, these have to be some of the worst arguments for not being vegan, for being pro-meat. These arguments just flat out suck. They're so bad, I don't even know where to start. But let me just pick one here. Let's talk about these horrible conditions that people who grow bananas and chocolate, cacao are forced to work in. Well, who is she to talk? It's a well-known fact that slaughterhouse workers have some of the most deplorable conditions for working out there. An article from the Texas Observer, yes, the meat capital of the world, talks about post-traumatic stress disorder in the slaughterhouse. And this article at NPR shows the inhumane conditions for workers in the slaughterhouses, let alone the animals, how they're mainly Central American immigrants. They work at high speeds and cold conditions, doing thousands of the same repetitions over and over with very few breaks. In fact, they're doing the same repetitive motions all day long, that their repetitive motion injuries amongst beef and pork processing workers were nearly 7 times higher than that of other private industry. So what happens to these workers once they get an injury and they can't keep up with the grueling pace on the slaughter line? Well, they just simply get fired. They have no recourse. And remember that PTSD is inherent in this job. So those two factors combined explain the enormous employee turnover in this horrible job. But this is the reason, the same exact reason why she says we shouldn't eat bananas, because the job conditions are so horrible. It makes no effing sense, because meat is just as bad, if not worse. And let's look again at her claim that everyone knows that the conditions at banana or cocoa farms are inhumane for workers. No, everyone does not know that, because that is just bull crap. Yeah, there's some major banana corporations out there that suck, and that's why we don't support them. But there are things such as like whole trade, fair trade certified. Have you ever heard of that? Just because some manufacturers suck doesn't mean the whole industry is corrupt. And by the way, it's not just vegans buying bananas. But anyway, let's get back to this here. Like at Whole Foods, they have their branded Whole Foods Fair Trade Whole Trade bananas, which are independently certified by a third party to ensure that workers receive living wages, work in humane conditions. And furthermore, let's look at the kinds of foods that are certified whole trade at Whole Foods. Year-round, you can get these two horrible foods that you're bitching about, bananas and chocolate. So your argument sucks. And who says vegans need to eat foods like bananas and cacao, which were grown thousands of miles away? Haven't you ever heard of local foods? Most markets have them. Whole Foods Market even tells you for the local foods how many miles away your food was grown. And there's farmers markets springing up all the time, which are foods that are grown locally. So yeah, vegans don't have to eat foods from far away. I know plenty that eat primarily local foods. So again, this argument against veganism completely sucks. And if these were the reasons why this 15-year-long vegetarian writer from Vice switched her ways, I don't believe it. These are horrible, horrible reasons. These just completely suck and they hold no water. So I questioned whether she was even a vegetarian. I just don't see how listening to these BS arguments from this German food expert would convince anyone to quit a nearly lifelong journey into veganism. So let me know what you think down below. What is up with this crappy, horrific article about cooking with blood and quitting vegetarianism? I just don't get it. I just think it's a propaganda piece put out there by the pro-meat industry in one way or another. So let me know what you think. If you got something out of this video, hit like, share it with a friend who may have saw this crazy Vice article earlier, and stay tuned for more from me and Angie here at Happy Healthy Vegan. Until next time, screw all this pro-meat propaganda BS. Keep it carved, baby. Keep it carved.